Mr. Morelle, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the ranking member and the members of the committee. It's always a privilege to be back here at the Rules Committee. Let me start by stating the obvious. The Smithsonian American Women's History Museum is long overdue and deserves a prominent place on the National Mall, period. The National Mall is where our nation tells its story, its triumphs, and its struggles, and American women have shaped every chapter of that story, which is why I support the bipartisan version of H.R. 1329 introduced by my colleague and friend from New York, Representative Nicole Maliotakis. That's why I supported her companion bill, H.R. 1330, which would also make the same technical fix for the National Museum of the American Latino. Together, these bills would resolve a statutory anomaly that has stalled both museums and allow them to move forward on the mall as Congress explicitly intended. But that's not what we are considering today, and I am deeply saddened and disappointed the majority has abandoned a bill that is a result of years-long bipartisan process in favor of an unserious, hyper-partisan substitute designed to fail. There was no hearing on the substitute bill before you now. We didn't hear from Smithsonian witnesses about its consequences. We didn't hear from museum professionals about what happens when politicians, rather than curators, start making curatorial decisions. And we certainly didn't hear from legal experts about the extraordinary authorities this bill grants the president. The substitute text was offered at the markup and reported out on a party line vote in the same morning. It fundamentally alters Representative Maliotakis' legislation in 4 key ways. And let me just quickly go through them. First, it omits the National Museum of the American Latino, which has been paired with the Women's History Museum since they were authorized together in 2020. Second, it grants the president unprecedented unilateral authority to disregard the Smithsonian's recommended site and pick his own, which is extraordinary since this bill is intended to site it on the National Mall. Third, it hands control over design and construction to boards stacked with party loyalists who have already shown they will rubber stamp whatever the president wants, and you need to look no further than the pile of rubble that used to be the East Wing of the White House for evidence of that. And fourth, it inserts an ideological poison pill intended to dictate what the museum can and cannot say about women's history. Colleagues, we deal with a lot of complicated issues around here that require complex solutions. This is not one of them. For half a decade, this was a bipartisan process. It has changed suddenly, as have so many things, with the election of Donald Trump back to the White House. We could pass the Republican-led bipartisan bill with 104 Republican co-sponsors today on suspension, if not by unanimous consent. The American people would find it baffling that you chose this route instead. Perhaps it would have been clearer had the majority held a hearing. The whole exercise is especially unfortunate given the bill's history. 2019, Democrats accepted a Republican amendment requiring the museum to reflect, quote, the diversity of the political viewpoints held by women in the United States. Virtually the same language appeared in this bill until it was amended again, or looks for another amendment, in the corresponding Latino Museum bill. But what we're considering today makes clear what viewpoints diversity really meant. Only viewpoints Republicans agree with. How much more cynical can you get than that? If the goal were truly to move the museum forward, we would not be abandoning the years-long bipartisan process that brought us to the brink of construction. We would not be considering a bill without a hateful ideological poison pill, and we would not exclude the Latino Museum. And we would certainly not be giving Donald Trump, of all people, the authority to pick a location and design for the Women's History Museum. And I would just say this bill fundamentally misunderstands the role of museums, the prominent status of the Smithsonian. Who should decide what appears in a Smithsonian museum, where it goes, and what it looks like? Should it be the historians, scholars, and curators for 180 years have made the Smithsonian the premier museum complex in the world, or a politician seeking to reshape history to fit his perverted narrative? I think the path forward is obvious. The House should pass the clean partisan bill with its 230-plus co-sponsors, pair it with the Latino Museum, as we've done for years, and I look forward to that happening. If it doesn't happen today, and it doesn't happen in the intervening months, I guarantee it's going to happen in the 120th Congress. And with that, I'll yield back.